Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another show of Harmonics. Today's guest, in my opinion, is one of the hardest working bluesmen in the United States and then also in the San Francisco Bay Area. This guy is badass. He's a very dear friend of mine. Please welcome, again, after 10 years, none other than Evan Thomas Goldstein. How are you, Evan?
Good, man. How are you?
Dude, you are one badass dude. I mean, you know, when I hear you play, and I haven't heard you play in a long time because of COVID, and all this, but you are one hell of a guitar player.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
You are just really hardworking, and you just are just bad, tough.
Thank you.
So I want to get into what's been going on with you.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know that we have been in COVID for the last 2 years. So what did you do with yourself? Because I didn't see you really playing anywhere. So what were you doing in those months?
I built a hot rod. That's
See what I'm saying? He's badass.
Something I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. I knew nothing about it, and I just learned as I went. I bought an old 1942 GMC pickup truck that was just beat to hell. It's a farm find, you know, one of those just way up in the hills. Anyway, got it home and just built the whole thing, and it's in the interior right now, getting its final
little adjustments.
Final looks, yeah.
So what made you do that? It's just because you wanted to do it because of a child dream, like making a model of some sort?
Yeah. You know, when I was in high school, there was this friend of mine, and one of his neighbors always built these, the father built these T-bucket roadsters.
Oh, yes.
And I always wanted to go over and meet him and talk to him, and you know, I've always been, but I never knew anything about cars or anything. Anyway, I never did. And then this opportunity just kind of presented itself as things do. And so I jumped on the opportunity and figured, well, I'm just going to go in. So I had a shop built at my house, and had this thing towed down to me, and it came in, you know, it wasn't even running. I mean, the motor seized and didn't have a bed on it, and just a jalopy, if you will, all original.
Wow.
And then from there, you know, had did research and talked to people and learned about this and learned about that and just did it all. And
so when you do something like that, you really put your mind to it, right?
yeah, I kind of stay on it.
You just stayed on it, huh? That's amazing, and you never had any experience whatsoever doing it.
No, I had to learn to weld. There's all sorts of things I had to learn.
Really?
I learned
Brand new engine, everything.
Yeah, I had all new, brand new motor. I researched what I wanted. I knew I wanted a small block 350, but that's all I knew. I didn't know anything about them. So I did a lot of research and figured out and had this company build me a motor. And then transmission's the same thing. I didn't know what I really wanted, but I talked to people all over around the country and found this one particular company that was just really cool. So they built me one and sent it out. And then I had to learn how to measure for a drive shaft. I mean, just everything, you know.
So that's excellent, because I know you showed me a picture of it. He showed me a picture of it. We're gonna, if that's okay, we could post it on their interview, what we were just talking about, totally. And people could see what you did. So in that meantime, while you were doing all that, because that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So were you playing your guitar? Were you doing any shows in the last 2 years? Or?
I really didn't do any shows. We did one towards the beginning of the whole COVID, when everybody had to isolate or whatever. We did one little live stream thing, and it just, that was, you know, we did that, and that was interesting. Is my reaction to that is it was just an interesting, because you're trying to, you know, have this energy and all this stuff, but nobody's really there, and you're doing it all to a camera. So it's kind of, it took a minute, but it was cool. But other than that, no, you know, really no shows.
So when you're at home, what do you listen to?
Man, I listen to, I like a lot of the old R&B stuff, Motown stuff. That's what I really like. Yeah, but I listen to everything. Blues, obviously. You know, a little bit of pop stuff, but if I had to pick what's my favorite, it'd be like the Motown stuff.
You know, in our previous interview, which it's been 10 years since I've seen this guy in this studio. And when he first came in, he said, man, you guys have really gone up a whole lot. So Evan, to me, is when I've watched him, Evan was the bar for Blue Voodoo to get where he's at, because he's just a fabulous guitar player. What started you on the road? And we've talked about it before, but people have to go back in our archives. When was the first time that you knew you wanted to play guitar? How old were you?
Gosh, I was probably 7-ish or 8 maybe. You know, just to recap, my dad is a phenomenal pianist, just a phenomenal piano player.
Yeah, you're very.
And he also, yeah. And you know, and then he had this guitar that he would play, and then he taught me a song, and then I just took a liking to it, you know. And then one day he comes home from work, and I think I was 10, and he says, hey, I need you to help me get something out of the car. And I get it out, and it was my first guitar that he had got. I still have it to this day, a little Con classical junior. And it's still hanging up on my wall.
Oh, that is awesome.
But that was it. And then it's just always, you know, but I'm more of a self-taught, if that's such a thing, you know, not very schooled or
you went ear to ear when you learned how to play records or play something from the record. Were you picking up the needle, putting it down, picking up, or how did you really, or your ear?
Yeah, it was more ear stuff. But sometimes it would be that. Later years, it would be the CDs or the cassette plate. Right, you'd stop, rewind, and
right.
you know, and you'd hear something, but for me, it's always been about improvisation. I've never really been a note for note guy, probably because it was too much work. So, but if I could figure out something that goes with it, then that's just kind of, you know.
So when you're playing, you're okay. What's your rig? What is your rig now? Because it's probably different than.
It's totally different. So before the pandemic, it was a custom-made Strat. It was a featherweight, really nice guitar made by Kenny Blu-ray. But after the pandemic, I said I want to come back with this ES335 Gibson, which is what I've always wanted. And I've got a ton of guitars, and I've always, I'm going to go get this, and I end up getting this. So I finally buckled down. I got it over the summer, and I haven't been able to put it down since then. So that's all I play now. It's the only guitar I bring to a gig. So
ESP.
It's ES335. It's a 1963, I think, reissue. And then I'm playing through the Fender Deluxe still. So the same amp, and I've still got my one tube screamer and my wah-wah pedal as my pedals. That's it.
That's it.
That's it, man. All my tone is in the fingers.
In your fingers. Yeah. So when you're out there playing and you're still cordless, right?
Yeah.
You know, you're and that's another thing. You are totally a 1A performer. I mean, you move. I've watched videos of you up on bars, just moving around the crowd. You really engage in the crowd, and then you go back because you really work. When you work in the crowd, but you're also working yourself to a frenzy almost, right? What is your favorite when you're out there? And I know you're playing extensive sets sometimes. Do you pace yourself? You have to pace yourself, don't? Or you just let it all hang out? You do, don't you?
Yeah, I just, you know, Stevie Ray Vaughan was a big influence, right, among many people. But one of the things that he said always stuck to me, and it was that he doesn't think, he just lets it come out. And if you think, that's when you start to get in trouble. And I find the same thing for me. If I close my eyes and I just go to a place and let it, then it comes out a certain way, right?
Of course.
If I open my eyes and I start watching what I'm doing and I start thinking of where I'm going to go next,
fuck it up.
Then it's almost a almost a stumbling thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by self. I don't know if that's because I'm self-taught, but probably because of the lack of schooling I've had or technical training. So I don't, you know, I couldn't really tell you everything I do. I can tell you I don't ever play the same solo twice because I don't do note for notice, just that's how I'm feeling at that time. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So,
you're improvisation, you're like a jazz musician. Everything is something new. You have the structures the same, or your chords are the same. Right. So do you play in certain keys, or do you even know what a
I know keys are. Yeah,
Right,
no, any
right.
key.
Yeah.
I know the fundamentals. I'm not. Yeah, but
so what is your favorite key to play on, or do you don't mind whatever you?
anybody call any key. It doesn't matter.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So so let's say, what key do you like to do the best, or you don't care, right?
It depends on what I'm feeling. You know, if I like the E, the low E stuff. When I'm doing the real gritty, kind of, stuff. But then some of the higher keys, like you're doing like "Thrill Is Gone" by B.B. King, and he does that in B minor, and that's a nice, sweet key for that song.
Is, it is,
So
yes, yeah.
so it just depends on.
So who is in? Have you started playing just recently after?
Yeah, we started.
You just opened up.
I was waiting till January, but we ended up doing stuff at the end of December. So, so we're booking and we're staying as nicely busy, not crazy busy like it was, but it's a nice, comfortable, several times a month thing.
So when you guys play, what is the band now?
So we have Wally Schnally, who's
He's
on
a great
drums.
drummer, man.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he is a great
amazing,
drummer.
yeah.
Great timekeeper.
Yeah. He's just a great guy. And then George Franklin.
Knew somebody
bass.
new?
He's been with us for a couple of years now.
Okay.
And, yeah, he's newer. But playing with these guys, man, I mean, we're like brothers and family.
Of course, exactly.
And there's no
Ego. You leave the
or
ego at
nothing.
home.
Yeah, it's
leave it in your
have
car.
fun,
Leave it in your truck.
Right.
So when you guys are actually playing now, are you playing 2-3 sets now, or do you go full house 4 sets, or what do you do?
Most of the stuff we're doing is 2 to 3 hour gigs. So a 2 hour gig we'll do. Normally won't even take a break. We'll just play straight through. 3 hour gig. Well, it depending on the crowd, depending on how we're feeling, how the energy is.
Yes, exactly.
Sometimes we'll split it up and just take one little break in the middle. Sometimes we'll do 3 little sets instead of 2 bigger ones. So it just depends on what's going on.
So are you playing somewhere local where people could actually see you, or is there places that you play locally? Are you playing in Livermore? You're playing in, you've played in a lot of places. I've seen you, like you were over in Florida one time.
Right.
All of a sudden I see, this is in Florida.
Yeah. We haven't gone back there yet. We'd like to, but no, right now we're playing, we kind of got
wineries?
Some of the wineries in Livermore. We're doing some stuff in Martinez at the Firehouse Grill, or Roxas on Main. Capitola Bar and Grill we're at.
Oh, really?
Half Moon Bay Brewing Company we're going to be at.
That's such a, really, in Capitola? Such a nice, I've been going there since I've been a little boy.
Yeah.
It's a great place.
Yeah, so the beach communities, the Wharf House. Yeah, and then there's, a few places in Livermore. There's little places like, we're doing tomorrow night at the La Botica, which is downtown Livermore, a little taco and tequila place. And then there's bigger places,
Of course.
Monica's opened up a great place out in Antioch, which is amazing, and we're playing out there. So just
all over.
anywhere and everywhere. Yeah.
So I know you play a lot of covers and do things like that. Does Evan Thomas write his own songs? Does he ever do any of that stuff yet?
He writes a lot of his own songs, but
he hasn't brought it out?
A couple have gotten out.
You're a real talented guy, my friend.
Well, thanks, man. Thanks.
Your guitar playing has always amazed me. Your style, your energy is like phenomenal. When the first time I seen you, I forget the gentleman's name that played the congas with you, or the drums. He was like your front. You guys are intertwining.
Oh, Paul. That was Paul Dunn. That was back in the day. It
was explosive.
Yeah.
I think I seen you guys the first time I met Beverly also. We're going to bring Beverly up in a few moments. But I remember the first time I seen you there, and because I wanted to get you on the show, and I'm going like, whoa. It was like an explosion of just musicality. You guys were just a great team together.
Yeah.
And then you guys played, I seen you one other time in San Francisco. You were like, you went out in the street.
That was at Lou's.
Yeah, with Lou's. Yeah, that's a great, is Lou still around, or?
No, well, it's a whole different place. It's not New Blues anymore. Now it's like a Fish Shack or.
Oh, okay. Because, man, seeing you on the bar, and I'm going, this dude is like, and you're hitting your high strings, and you're just going, bam. And I'm going like, dude, who is this guy, man? He was just, I have his energy, but I want to get more energy like that. You're such a special performer. I hold you in such high esteem. I respect you so much because you play. and you sing.
Yeah, thank you.
And not too many people do that.
Well.
We just had Mark White on our show. Mark White was the drum tech for Y&T and also the guitar tech for Y&T, and he did the documentary of Y&T. He toured with them I think he worked with them for 9 years. In fact, he's going to audition for us, for Blue Voodoo. And he was talking about David. They're very rare. You don't see very many rock, blues, or rock guys fronting a band like David does, right? As a bluesman, that's almost like a tradition. You have like Buddy, and you have Buddy Guy, you have BB, Albert Collins, Albert King, etc., Freddie King. You remind me of that mode. When I see you, I transfer myself into that mindset, and I'm witnessing greatness, because that's how I really.
Wow, man.
Bro, you are
very
like.
kind.
No, I think that's what you bring. Because I think you should be headlining the Bankhead. That's when I feel.
Thank you.
I know you've played there.
Yeah.
But I think that you're such a good guitar player, and you actually, so much you believe in the blues.
Right.
When you like you said, you just bring it right out.
Thanks.
You blow my mind, man. You really have it, and that's what's so intriguing about you. So when you're at home, and you and Beverly, you're kicking back. You had an injury. How is that now? Is that okay?
It's all good, yeah.
It was your shoulder, you said?
So, yeah, right before COVID, I knew I was going in. I had a torn tendon in my shoulder, and I knew I was going to be out for probably about 8 months. And then COVID hit, of course, so that kind of reprieved that. And then last July, I tore a tendon in my elbow, this elbow. So I had to have surgery on that. Luckily, the recovery wasn't that long. It didn't take that long. So, that's kind of what happened. And all those things kind of happened during the COVID time, which was kind of
it helped you.
An eerie, convenient thing. And so it all worked out.
You talked about Stevie Ray Vaughan. What other guitar players inspired you?
Man, there's everybody. I mean, you named them, Albert King, BB King, Freddie King, Albert Collins, Otis Rush. I mean,
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
just anybody and everybody. I don't know that I could name everybody, but it's more about the lick. You know what I mean? Like Guitar Slim and guys like that. Where you just going, man. We'll be driving down and listening to something and like, who is that? And those are the guys that
you emulate, and you do it so well. So you are playing now. And you're going to be playing tomorrow, right? We don't necessarily have to say who it is, because you're going to be shown on this in 2 weeks and it'll be gone. So you're going to be
in 2 weeks we're going to be playing it.
So you're doing that. So when you're at home, do you fiddle at home too, or you just you just constantly?
Yeah. It goes in spurts. I mean, sometimes I've got a very extremely supporting wife.
Oh, you're lucky.
And if I go outside in the studio to play, she wants me to come inside and play, practice, or noodle around, and so.
But she probably enjoys it.
Yeah, she does. That's
what
she
see.
Says. So, but yeah, it goes in spurts. Sometimes it's every night. Sometimes it'll go a few weeks because I'm gigging a lot, and I'll just kind of take a break and just But yeah, I'm a constant, whether it's piano or guitar.
Oh, you play little keys also?
I do, yeah.
Didn't you guys have a keyboard player at one time? Was it you guys that did, or I'm mixing up with another band?
We had somebody that would come in every once in a while, but it wasn't really a permanent.
Okay.
Thing, yeah.
So when you go at home, okay, so you're doing that, and you talked about some great players that you had, that you liked. What's your set list like now? Is it a variety of different guys?
Total variety. Yeah, and it's funny because sometimes we'll want to bring in a fourth or fifth person, right? Like we spoke about, and or we need a sub, and they'll ask for a set list, and I'll give them a song list. But I've never been able to unless it's a big show, like if it's a Bankhead, or we did this gig at the Almost Famous Wine Lounge, which is a great new place, where it's like a real concert show. Then we'll do a set list, and we stay true to that. But some of the other gigs, it's so hard to stay true, and so you're almost feeling out the audience on what they're wanting. You don't know if it's a dance kind of an audience, or if it's an audience that just wants to come and just sit and listen, or if you're, so I can't really tell you what the set list is like
Right,
because
right,
it's a song list, and we just kind of go through and say, oh, okay, let's do this one next, or you know.
Well, I could tell you, I can't sit down, and I have to get up because when I'm watching you play, you move around. I got a great picture of, I forget where you were at in Livermore. Victoria and I went to go see you, and you came over. You were playing, then you stopped, took a picture, and then you went off again. and I said, you know what? This guy is so versatile. How could anybody sit down and watch him? You know, a dear friend of mine, and you know her too, Karen Givens. You know, now lives up north, and she's such a huge fan of yours also, man. I mean, I've had friends that come up to me, man, you know that guy, don't you? I go, yeah, he's a great guitar player. You'd be surprised how many people have come up to me and said, hey, man, Evan is really a good guitar player. I go, no kidding. I almost said no, but I mean, but the bottom line here is you just have, you have that charisma. You're very charismatic on stage.
Thank you.
Beverly knows that. That's why she married you. You know, but I mean, you just bring a certain energy that to so many people, and I just wish you so much the best.
Thanks, man.
You know, I hope I'd like to see your rod one time. You're probably going to go to the Good Guy. Are you going to be in the Good Guys?
So I think the next show I'll definitely make an appearance. I don't even know how that whole thing works with the whole showing of the cars, and you know, I want to drive it around. Bev wants to just drive it as her daily, so it might just be that. You know?
That's good.
I mean, we put power brakes, power steering. I mean, it's
maxed out.
Oh yeah, it's like a brand new car underneath.
And you didn't know anything about what you said earlier. You didn't know nothing about. You just studied and.
Made a lot of phone calls. And I call people and I say, this is the first time I'm doing this, so just so you know. But this is what I'm working on. You know, I need some information. And then you just kind of...
Did you call Aaron Haggard, Sammy's son?
No.
He's a guy that does the same thing what you just did for the first time. That's what he does. I'm a friend of him. And he's another one. When you said that, even when I was looking at it, I didn't realize because, you know, I didn't see the picture correctly when you were showing me that. I was just saying, well, you know, and then you told me what it is. What a beautiful paint job.
Thanks.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Have you taken pictures in front of it with your rig or yet? Or your guitar?
No, not yet. So we just got it out of paint last week and drove it around a couple days. But I mean, the seat is springs. I mean, there's no seat. There wasn't anything. So I was sitting on a blanket, you know? So, and then I literally just trailered it down to Santa Barbara for the upholstery. So when it comes back from that, of course, we'll do pictures and really get it around.
I think that would be a great picture of you in front of your rig, man. I mean, that's just my own. It's just like Foghat when they did there with their private jet. You know, there's all kinds of different things.
Too, right? That'll be the next one.
There you go. What did you do? You know,
dream big, baby.
Jet. Totally. So your next things in your life is basically getting back on stages. And playing what you do best. I always wanted to tell you, and this is from me to you, thank you for letting me sing with you that one time.
Oh, dude.
When you asked me, I'm glad you had that little book pad in front of me, you know, because I love the song Further Up the World, but thank you on that. You know, Evan, you to me, I'll tell you, man, your playing is unbelievable, and I'm glad what you said. You don't think it, you just, you feel it. And you use it in your fingertips, you get that tone.
I do. You know, there's that, and then of course, because of that, sometimes you'll hit a note that maybe isn't supposed to be there.
That's okay.
But, you know, we just call it jazz.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's improvisation. And who knows anyhow, because half the time, people, not unless you're really a critic and I don't like being critics because everybody makes mistakes. I like what Miles Davis said about mistakes. I don't make no mistakes. You know, I'm playing jazz, just what you just said. So, I wish you the best, man. I mean, I as time has gone on, I'm gonna bring your number one fan up here, man.
Yeah, man.
Come on up here for a minute, Beverly. Just come on, just
honey.
for a second. Give him a big hug. You know, just come on, just for a second. Give him a hug. There we go.
This is my wife.
Yeah, you want to get down a little, get over here, and let her see. Let's see her. There she is.
Come sit.
Come on down. Come on down.
Here, come sit.
Come, let's go sit down. There you go. Beverly, well, how is it being married to this wild man?
It's fantastic.
It is, huh?
I have zero complaints.
He's such a great guy, and you guys are such a beautiful couple. And now you get off stage. Yeah, you can. No, see. Thanks, Beverly. It's his show. It's his show.
Come on out here. I'll go away.
Thanks. You know, she knows I respect her. So, brother, you know, as time is getting closer, 25 minutes goes pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to see your ride. But I can't wait to see you play again.
Thanks. Yeah.
I hope it's at the Bankhead. You have an agent, or you do? Or you basically do all your work? That's hard sometimes.
Super hard.
Huh?
You have to be in the it has to be on the right day, the right frame of mind, and when you're feeling pretty thick-skinned. You know?
Exactly. I hate when somebody says, "No, well, you know, we got this and that." It's amazing. You don't play too much in the club scenes no more. You're actually in the wineries, huh? You don't go.
We're not really doing
clubs.
like the bar. You mean like the bars
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
like that? No, we're not really doing all the stuff we're doing, man. It's like 6 to 9, 7 to 10.
That's so good.
It's awesome.
Huh?
It's awesome.
Isn't it?
I mean,
Instead
none
of
of these
good-
9 to 1 or 10 to 2.
I hate
gigs
those
anymore.
now.
I feel very. I appreciate it very much. I feel very, very honored to be able to do that because that's kind of a, it's a little different world.
It's a different, but like Graham, he used to start his programs at 8 o'clock, get out at 12. Now we start at 9 and you get out at 1. Or if you're headline, you get out at, you're
10
home
to
at
2.
3 and you're going like, you're a zombie, right? So we're going to give out a shout out to everybody again.
Yep.
And Beverly, I want you to come back here and I'm going to do something. You're going to sit right next to him. Come on over here. Come on right over here. Yeah, sit right next there. Sit right there. And I'm going to sit right here. And I want to thank them. These two people who are just great people. I love them, who they are. They represent so much goodness in life. And they got the lust for life and the gusto. God bless you both. And thank you for coming to my show, brother.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me.
So we're going to give somebody a big kiss out. What we normally do, we give our fans a kiss out. And thank God for her. She's here tonight.
Thank God for her.
Give a
Mwah. Right on.
Peace.
Peace.